Hello further maths students. In this video we're going to go through all of our exam questions at the end of the chapter 12 notes, and as always it's a really good idea once you've made your way through a chapter of the textbook to have a go at plenty of exam questions and practice SAC questions, because there's often a bit of a different twist to them compared to what's in your normal textbook exercises. So let's have a look at this multiple choice question from the 2009 VCAR exam. We're given a transition matrix here that we're calling T. We're also given a state matrix S3. And the question says, if S3 equals T times S2, then S2 is equal to. So this is a bit of an unusual question where we actually know the matrix S3 and we're trying to work out the matrix S2. We're working backwards. What we can say in these questions is that if S3 equals T times S2, then if we want to rearrange this and get the matrix S2 as our answer, we can actually use the inverse matrix. Essentially what we're going to do is multiply both sides of this matrix equation by the inverse of T, and we will get T inverse times S3 equals S2. In other words, S2 will equal T inverse times S3. Right, so then your job is to put that information into your calculator. I'll try to get both of these on the screen here. We had the matrix T, it's probably coming up a little bit bright on your screens there, but hopefully you can make out the values. So plug in matrix T. Remember that we're using the inverse. So it's to the power of -1 multiplied by S3, which was 1150 and 850. All right, and that gives us 1100 and 900. Okay, so you can see that's the calculation we put in there, which leads us to the option C. All right, so one of those working backwards ones with a transition matrix where we actually use the inverse. Moving on, another multiple choice question, this one from the 2014 exam. This one says, there's a bit of information to digest, I should say. Wendy will have lunch with one of her friends each day of this week. Her friends are Angela, Betty, Craig, Daniel, and Edgar. Conveniently A, B, C, D, E. On Monday, Wendy will have lunch with Craig. Right, so that's a key bit of information there. She's going to have lunch with Craig on Monday. And then she's going to use this transition matrix, because of course you would use a transition matrix to decide who's going to have lunch with you, below to choose a friend to have lunch with for the next 4 days of the week. All right, so we've got today, tomorrow, we've got our ones and zeros to indicate who she's going to have lunch with from one day to the next. The order in which Wendy has lunch with her friends for the next 4 days is, and we've got 5 options here. So our job is to work out, okay, if she's having lunch with Craig on Monday, who's she going to have lunch with on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Okay, so the way we do this is to say, all right, well, to start with, she's had lunch with Craig today, right? So Craig today leads to, we've got this 1 here, Edgar tomorrow, right? So it says, if she has, that's how we read this transition matrix. If she has lunch with Craig today, she'll have lunch with Edgar tomorrow. So she's gone. Craig on Monday, we knew that one. Then Edgar. Now, if she has lunch with Edgar on a particular day, then the next day, so if it's Edgar today, the next day is going to be D, who was D? Daniel, right? Because that's where the 1 is in the diagram. So Daniel is next. And then we go, okay, now, so today, on whatever particular day it is, she's having lunch with Daniel. Daniel today leads to, there's that 1, B tomorrow. So D to B, and B was Betty, so Betty will be the next person. And if she's having lunch with Betty today, so B today, the 1 is in the first row there, so B today leads to A tomorrow. In other words, if she has lunch with Betty on a particular day, the next day she's having lunch with Angela. Right, and so that's the sequence over the next 4 days. We already knew Craig on Monday, but the next 4 days after that is Edgar, Daniel, Betty, Angela. We just carefully look for that option. Edgar, Daniel, Betty, Angela, looks like option E. Okay, so that's an interesting transition matrix where, we're used to seeing lots of decimals in transition matrices. This one just had zeros and ones because it wasn't like talking about, percentages of things that are happening. This was just who she actually goes and has lunch with. So there's just going to be one person each day.